Thank you for tuning in and listening to Bob Bennett. Today, listen in as Bob Bennett interviews Anthony Graves, aka Death Row Exoneree 138, as he tells his story of lies and legalized deceptive justice.
My name is Anthony Graves, better known as Death Row Exoneree number 138. I was wrongfully convicted. I spent 18 and a half years in prison, 12 and a half on Texas death row, and I had 2 execution days. Amnesty and I partnered up together around my story to share with the rest of the world. I think the world needs to know about what's going on in our criminal justice system, the inhumanity of it. I didn't understand why would this happen to me. I didn't bother nobody, I wasn't a criminal. And so when I got out and I started telling people my story, I seen the impact that it was having, and people actually wanted to get involved after hearing about the injustice. We don't wake up thinking about the death penalty over here, whether it's right or wrong. Until it knocks on your door, you really don't even have a conversation about it.
Thank you. That was a video that I did with Amnesty International last year, right here in Houston, and just kind of highlighting how the impact and effect of a wrongful conviction can have on someone. But even then, I always say that it shouldn't stop you from being who you are. I am who I am because of what's going on in my life, and I give thanks to God for that. Back in 1992, when a horrible crime had taken place, 6 people were murdered. They were shot, stabbed, bludgeoned to death, house set on fire, I guess in an obvious attempt to hide the crime. 6 bodies, 4 were children. 1 was a teenage daughter, 1 was a grandmother. Can you imagine the outrage? Because this happened in a small town, Burleson County, Somerville, Texas. It's never happened like that before, and they were outraged. Matter of fact, the mayor came out in the paper the next day and said that whoever had done this crime didn't even deserve a new trial. They should just be caught and hanged. It took me 6,640 days to come back home, along with 2 execution dates. And I got to witness many of the young men that our state is murdering down there. I got to know them. And they weren't these bad actors as we all like to portray them. Okay, some of them had made one mistake, 5 minutes of their life, and we killed them. One young man, 18 years old, came down there so remorseful. He'd never been in trouble in his life. But when I done something dumb, so remorseful, he spent all of his time writing letters to other young men from broken homes, sharing his story, asking them to put down their flags and pick up their books. And it was working. And the whole nation was advocating that this young man, during the time that this crime happened, he was 17. That his mind hadn't fully developed. He was still impressionable. We shouldn't kill this young man. Look at what he's doing. But we said, no. We don't give second chances. We executed him. And then after we executed him, we passed a law that says that it's unconstitutional to execute those who commit crimes at 17. Well, let me just say this about that young man. That young man murdered the father of a district judge. I'll leave it at that. Okay? So anyway, get back to my story. When the officer tell me I have to go downtown, and I'm telling Mike to let my mom know that I'll be back, we go downtown. And I'm in the backseat of this cruiser thinking, why am I in a police car? And he's taking me down the middle of town, and everybody's looking, trying to see who's in the police car, and I'm sliding down because it's embarrassing, and we're headed to the police station. So we get there, go up in the Sally Port. They take me inside, into the booking room, tell me to take everything out of my pocket. I comply, take everything out. And the guys, I'm asking him, hey man, can somebody tell me why I'm here? And nobody wanted to tell me. So after they took me there, They booked me. They asked me if I wanted to talk to them, and I agreed. We went back there, and they just started lighting into me. They started calling me a baby killer. They started calling me everything. And they tell me, they say, well, you might as well tell us everything because Robert done told us. And I said, Robert? Robert who? He said, you know Robert. I said, man, I'm on the project. I know several Roberts. Okay, Robert who? And he knew then that I didn't know who he was talking about, so he filled in the blanks for me. He said, Robert Carter. And I got to thinking, Carter, because I really didn't know the dude. But he was married to a cousin of mine that I had grew up with, but I hadn't been around them for years. But I kept thinking, Robert Carter. And it dawned on me that I had heard my mom say that my cousin had gotten married to a guy named Carter. And instantly I felt relieved because I knew he didn't know me. So I was like, are you talking about my cousin's husband? He don't know me. And so I agree. I tell him, I said, look, I'll take any test you guys have. I'll take a truth serum test. I'll take a lie detector test. I don't care because I have nothing to hide. They said, oh, you'll take a lie detector test. I said, yes, sir. All right, and so finally the Texas Ranger, the chief Texas Ranger walks up to get in my face and he says, Mr. Graves, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you had nothing to do with this. But if you don't tell me nothing that you put on Robert, then we're going to put this whole case on you. And if you're actually innocent, then don't let no grass grow in your grave. Now y'all get him out of here. I never, ever will forget those words. That this man looked me in my eyes and told me he knew that I didn't have anything to do with this, but he was going to try to kill me anyway if I didn't lie for them. That's our system. And I know probably some of you in here shocked. Wow, is that yes, that happens. That is the real world. That is our system. Okay? Anyway, I ended up staying 2.5 years in jail or waiting trial. I kept asking them to take me to trial. Please take me to trial, take me to trial, right? Because I believe in our system, and I just thought that you get to trial, you tell the truth, you go home. Still, that's not the way our system works. Okay, because when I got to trial, everybody now is trying to win. Nobody is seeking justice anymore. Everybody now is trying to win. So I started seeing all the games played. They gave me a change of venue so that I can receive a fair trial because of all the publicity. Well, a week before the trial started, the DA was down there every day in the news talking about I was guilty, totally tainting my jury pool. When we get to voir dire, going through the jury, every time a juror would come up for examination, my attorney would ask them, what do you think about my client, Mr. Graves, sitting in here? And at least 85% of them would say, well, he must have done something, otherwise you wouldn't have him here. I was already guilty in their eyes. So it's easy for a prosecutor to wrongfully convict someone. That's why they have to be held to the highest of standards. It is just that easy because the citizens want to believe in you. They want to believe in our system. And if you're bringing somebody in there, they want to believe that you got it right. You know that. But you got to be responsible for it. And we got to hold you all accountable. Too many innocent people are losing their freedoms and their lives because we do not want to look under the rock anymore. It costs too much. Well, it costs that mother her child. It costs that child his father. It costs more than any dollar you can ever put on it. It don't cost too much. It saved lives.
Anthony, Bob Bennett, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Bob.
And on behalf of Lone Star College, we thank you for the speech you gave. And one of the things that I wanted to ask, though, for the young people at Lone Star, what is your opinion about what they should do to help further either your foundation or to make sure that justice is done in other cases? What would be your recommendation?
I think my first recommendation is that for students that really want to make a difference, that they should get involved with volunteer work. Volunteer work with these organizations that's really getting out there trying to, equal our justice system. I think that like Innocent Projects, my foundation, they need people who are passionate about reform to get involved on a volunteer basis. Also, I think that what's most important is you got to use your voice in this state, in this nation, in this country. And that is you have to show up at the ballot box and be a voice with your vote. It is so important that we show up and we vote the people that we feel like would have our interests. One of the problems is we don't think our vote counts. But I always try to tell students that if your vote didn't count, why you think they spend so much money to keep you from voting? Your vote do count. You can make a difference at that ballot box, and I would say get involved in those ways.
What else would your foundation provide or information to the students, or what else could they do for your foundation?
Well, right now my foundation, we are reaching out guys that are wrongfully convicted write to me all the time and ask for help. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get students, law students in particular, do some research on their cases and put together like a summary of facts for us. And then we're reaching out to law firms, trying to get those law firms to get involved in these cases. So that's the process right there. So what I would need, basically, I would need some volunteer researchers to help me do some research on these cases that are coming to me, and some people who are interested in communicating with these offenders that are writing to me and kind of keeping them abreast on what we're trying to do with their cases. So that's kind of what I would need in terms of volunteer work.
So at the bottom of this video, we'll put your name and the foundation's name and the telephone number they can call, and they can get in touch with your foundation and start the process that way.
Yes, sir. I would appreciate it.
Okay, Anthony, good to see you.
Thank you so much, Bob.